Hey spin enthusiasts! So a while back on Instagram, I asked you guys to send me your most pressing questions about what it's like to be a guard instructor, and I got a lot of responses, so I'm really excited about that. There are a lot of questions here. Holy cow, I love you all. This is fantastic. And I'm really excited to kind of like share with you guys our answers to your questions. An assumption that I have here: it is extremely difficult to come up with an entire show. I don't know that it's difficult to come up with an entire show as far as like your experience level and the show you're doing and the experience level of your students. So if you have a lot of experience and you've come up with shows lots of times, it's not so much difficult, it just takes time. And I think a lot of people get those things confused. Things that are time consuming versus things that are difficult. Just because something takes a long time doesn't mean it's hard. So it's really not hard to come up with an entire show. What's hard is the time and the work and effort that goes into actually designing the show. I have a hard time sometimes with coming up with concepts that I love, concepts that are not overdone or concepts that are not, too abstract for my students to get a hold of. Christian? I've never seen it spelled that way before. I'm going to assume it's Christian. Christian wants to know, how do you go about planning practices? For a regular high school color guard, it's not too bad. You get so many hours after school a week or before school or whatever, and you plan out what you're going to do. For Spintronics, it's interesting because we have a certain number of hours every weekend, and not only do we have to work on our warm-ups, our technique, our choreography and cleaning, in addition to drill and performance and all of that sort of stuff, we also have to worry about our meals, when everyone's going to eat, our yoga, our bedtime, our team building activities. So there's a lot going into it. So what I do is I sit down once a week and I have sort of a general framework for what classes I want to offer and what I want everybody to accomplish for the weekend. And then I will take the goals that we have for that weekend and fit them into that framework and decide how much time we're going to spend on each thing based on what our goals for the weekend are. Chris wants to know, how does an instructor find drill? You watch a lot of other guards, honestly. We have someone who writes our drill for us at Spintronics and who designs our shows, and he does a really excellent job with it. His name's Justin. If you need to know who he is or need to hire a drill writer, let me know and send me a message. I'll get you some information for Justin. He's great. But as far as finding drill, you're not going to be able to find drill. You're going to probably have to hire somebody to write it, or you're going to have to write it yourself. A lot of times it's really not as hard to write it yourself as you would think, though. You can watch a lot of other shows, get a lot of other ideas from other guards that have done similar shows to yours or completely different shows to yours. It's just a matter of knowing what you want and knowing how to go about getting it. All right, I'm going to give you one more today. I'm going to say we have someone who wants to know, how do you come up with all of your show work? How often do you recycle some pre-used work? I literally put on some headphones and I spin, and that's how I write my choreography. Actually, I say headphones. I just put it on in the studio at Spintronics and use the studio and then sit there and write it. I just spin to the show music, and then whatever feels right, that's what I'm going to do. You also have to keep in mind the drill, where people are going, passing through, if they're passing through each other, how close they are to each other. But as far as like, you're going to choreograph your big moments first, and then you're going to choreograph like your smaller moments in between and kind of use filler work for that. That's kind of my process, how I do it. I know it seems crazy. I just sort of get out there and do it just because I've been doing it for so long. And then how often do you recycle pre-used work? A lot. Every year. There are some phrases that I absolutely love, and if you go back and if you watch, oh my gosh, 2011, I'm pretty sure 2012, 2015, think we skipped 16, probably 2017. Yeah, 2017 for sure. There's this one flag phrase you'll actually see several times. You'll actually see once every year, just because it's a flag phrase that I really like. And what I'll do is I will take that same exact choreography and I will adjust it. I will make it students face different directions. I will make some parts faster and some parts slower, some parts harder and some parts softer. So even if you go back through and look at all the Spintronics choreography that we've done in our productions throughout the years, you'll see a lot of repetition. Another great thing though about being able to reuse and recycle pre-made choreography is your vets, your returning members, are already going to know that choreography. So they've already got it. Okay, this phrase, okay, so the next 16 counts is already going to be perfectly clean because you recycled that. There's no harm in recycling your own work, just like there's not harm necessarily in copying someone else's work as long as it's not, you know, exactly the same song, exactly the same choreography, exactly the same speed and everything. It's done a lot in not just the color guard culture, in the dance culture, in marching band, in creative, anything creative. You're going to be looking at other creators and seeing what they do and getting ideas from them and using what you learn from them. So recycling pre-used work, do it. Do it. Just change up a little count here, put some different body underneath it, make your fast slow and your slow is fast. So this is the first video on what's going to become a series about what it's like to be a color guard instructor. And if you really want to know more in depth, one of the things that I'm doing, at least for the summer, we'll see how long it keeps going after that, I'm going to post once or twice a week a written analysis of teaching color guard, and it'll be on our Patreon account. So if you want to take part in that, go ahead and sponsor us on Patreon at one of our instructor levels, either instructor level or director level. You will receive those weekly or bi-weekly. I'm going to try for bi-weekly. We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of busy, but definitely weekly. I've already got it all set up for the summer, so you'll be getting weekly updates on things about color guard classes. So what you can be teaching, how you can be giving assessments to your students in color guard, how you can be, you know, basically furthering their education. I've been doing a lot of studying myself lately in dance curriculum, and I want to kind of bring that into the color guard world. We need this sort of guide. I get asked all the time, I have a color guard class, we have a fall guard and not a winter guard, or maybe we have a winter guard and not a fall guard. What do I teach my students the rest of the time? And there's so many things they can be learning from this color guard class that is going to enhance their life and give them the actual credit that they need to go on and become the best performer they can possibly become. The credit is going to look the same regardless. It's what they learn in your class and what they learn from you. So those are going to be going up every week on my Patreon. The first one went up Tuesday, and watch for another video. Like I said, I got a ton of questions from you guys about what it's like to be a color guard instructor. So I'm going to keep doing these videos, and you'll get one of these every week for a little while. I hope that you do like this video and share it with all of your students, because color guard is so much better when you have a team that you can teach how to do it. It's not nearly as fun when it's a solo act. Bye guys.